We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
Another year has completed, meaning that a new season begins when a new year begins. Welcome to season 9. I know we've been back and forth on what we'll be talking about, but I will be real with you. Sports, music, tech, productivity. You will likely get a lot of guests or appearances. Hey, you might even hear me get questioned about some things. But I want you all to tune in because there's definitely a lot to talk about. And this journey has been heavy to say the least. Welcome to a new season of The Past with your host, BT.
And it seemed like forever. But here we are, man, back to what we do. Took a little bit of a fall. Not a fall, but took a little bit of a break off the uh off the horse. But as as we constantly say in the gym, back into it. So we back to the traditional morning walk, morning flow, morning grind, morning mindset, if you will. Um, I will be transparent, not like I need to be, but um, the shows will kind of have a little bit of a delay to the upload. So it may be recorded on one day, it might not go up until a week or so later. Uh, life will life will throw you things, man, and you sometimes don't know why or what's the reason behind stuff coming at you like it does. Only to learn that you needed whatever the experience was, you needed that experience to teach you something. And it's it's a it's a bit of an odd phrase, but it's also a valid phrase. Experience is our best teacher. And I can't speak for anybody else, but experience has been teaching me to be when I ain't want to learn, like next to nothing. So I don't take it lightly whatsoever. Um, we're a little over, let me double check this before I make the statement, but we're right now about a little over 3% into the year, and right at 3% mark. Don't ask why, but I've gotten drawn into this percentage slash countdown app that not to rush things, but to see how we navigate and operate through time. Like time for the day, time for the month, time for the week. We we really, in so many words, we really take time for granted. And I didn't know, you don't know how much you take something for granted until you take it for granted. We take time for granted, we take people for granted, we take life for granted. And sometimes it has to be like this high, heavy, hectic amount of chaos to have you see it for what it is. Lately, that's kind of been my MO, is seeing things and Could have been just as bright and clear as day the first time, but now it's like got a little bit more light to it. Good morning. One thing I'll say this with a straight, unfiltered face. I be thinking I get up early, but if you really want to see who got that morning dedication, people with dogs will get up and go take them a nice little morning stroll like it ain't nothing. I will also come clean today and say that my breathing may not be top tier, but it ain't nowhere near what it used to be when it comes to just natural breath work. And I personally and wholeheartedly do not take it for granted. Um, you find yourself at times really having to like stop and slow down and acknowledge where life puts a lot of missing, I don't even want to say puzzle pieces, but it puts different elements in our day to day. I don't know if I know I haven't shared it on the podcast because I had plans to record this past Saturday, but I don't know if life got in the way, if my brain got in the way, if snow was causing me to not want to do much or nothing. But I've, I've now kind of set up my space as a bit of a studio, and that's been probably one of my most appreciative and resourceful things to do, which means I don't have an excuse anymore. I didn't have one before because, in all fairness, especially with how I record, my workaround with podcasts is very simple. I knew it was near my dad's birthday. It was a minute ago. Um, it, it it's it's a different scenario when you literally can just sit two mics down or sit a mic down and just go. Um, the craziest thing, and it's so why I appreciate what I do, is I have had folks who have known me for a while that have talked with me and said, I don't really quote unquote want to be on the show. And I respect that because it's not it's not everybody's thing. However, they were like, I want to see, like it's almost like a paraphrase of I want to see you in action. And in action for me is turning on the mic, turning on the laptop, setting up the equipment, like the multiple variables that go into doing recording. And the weirdest thing about it is by far I don't claim to be, nor am I considered being an engineer. I'm an engineer in code form. Audio engineering, I have like all my skill and all my learning has come from me just sitting in front of my laptop and learning, audition, watching watching YouTube videos, pulling up quick tutorials and stuff like that. I shared this. You all will probably hear, like I said, you'll hear this recording a little late, but it's still a good message to share. And that is called Quitters, Quitters Day, National Quitters Day. And believe it or not, I'm not making up a holiday or anything. This is a holiday that comes up every year. It lands on the same day every year. Well, it's gonna how it falls based on the calendar is the same every year, which is the second Friday of the year. So January 1st comes, balloons drop, hoo yay, happy new year, all that stuff. And then yeah, make sure I cut the corners a little tight. Um, and then you go through the first week, because a lot of people will do it's a habit. They set all these goals, set intentions, set ideas, things they want to work on, things they like to do. And then by the second Friday of that month, you just want to throw everything away. Now, what's funny is businesses know this. And here's why. And I'm saying businesses, but there's one in particular. I probably, especially since COVID, I haven't stepped in the gym in a long time, like a American Family, Planet Fit. I personally never been in Planet Fitness. Never been to Goals. I thought Goals was expensive. Um, I had an American. I was a +1 with American Family.
Let's take a quick break.
I know a lot of you are preparing for the new year, new me thing. And I would say you don't have to plan on January 1st. You can plan on March 5th. You can plan whenever you like. And that's where this sponsor comes in. 5 years ago, I got introduced to bullet journaling, or I was interested in learning about bullet journaling. Ryder Carroll created a planning method where you're in control of how you plan. And with the bullet journal, it's a simple format or a simple flow. You have a book, it is a dotted grid notebook, and you can plan or write out however you would like to do your planning. I have found and have accepted that I am a rapid log planner, meaning that I pretty much write out my plan, whatever the day is and the date, and then the things that I'm doing on that day. And did I do them or did I not do them? And I found that to work for quite some time. I did get a little fancy at one time and really get in depth with planning, but over time, I eventually went to what's today's date? What am I doing today? Or what have I done today? I usually use it in a simpler manner of once I've completed things for my day that I know I need to do, then I use it accordingly, connecting it to my digital calendar, aka Google Calendar. If you're interested in joining the Bullet Journal or Bujo community, have a 10% promo code for their notebook. They'll usually bring out a new color each year. This year I went with the yellow slash, I guess you can call it the bumblebee look to some degree. Normally, anytime I get one of their bullet journal notebooks, I'm always getting the black or the blue or something that's a dark color. So this year to go with something a little brighter was different, but bullet journaling changed the landscape for me planning and preparing. And the best part about it is you can create your planning to your style and to what works for you. Again, I've done this for nearly, if not 5 years, and it hasn't been broken, so I haven't had to fix anything with using it. So check them out, bulletjournal.com. Use my promo code Brian Bujo, get 10% off.
Um, Outside of those, I mean, I guess those are like the big three, at least that we got going. Um, if you get more in depth, you have the smaller uh gym, like personal training type gyms, which I attend one. Shout out to the Well. I don't know how it works or has worked for anybody else, but the Well has been and will forever be a game changer. I'm hoping this year is the year that the corner turns and I can like really navigate to bigger and better. But um, there's a lot of small stuff that I got to start doing that I haven't wanted to do, but life has kind of put me in a position of, well, you got to do it now. You've gotten your choices and your chances to kind of freestyle and go a little crazy, but those days are behind us. Uh, Yesterday might have been a push, but it wasn't a press. And I say it that way because it was a push on the body. It was a lot of internal walls that I was fighting through with life and with everything. Um, but it got done. Like even down to curling, doing the curls. Bicep curls are not my strong suit because my arms are strong, but my arms at times can feel like spaghetti noodles and like just movement. Like your arms and your legs, the amount of exertion that can or does get placed on them plays a big part in your activity, your day to day. Um, and I'm gonna say this, and do those who listen or those who know me on a personal level, do not take this message the wrong way. I am in a space where I no longer want to hear what you're gonna do. I want to see it. And I'm not saying I need to see it for myself. I need to see it for you to confirm you are gonna do what you're gonna do. Like there's no point in me talking about I'm gonna put time into my business. I'm gonna work on my design work, but I'm not doing any effort towards my design work. That makes zero sense. But yet we do this unknowingly by challenging and complicating processes sometimes. And again, I'm not sharing this as like a pointing out anybody because again, I'm pointing the finger back right back at myself. I said a lot last year. We'll do this and we'll go here. I got this plan. And ain't budge. And I don't I didn't have the excuses before, but lately I really don't have the excuses. And a message that I keep sharing or keep bringing up is we have everything we need, whether we want to use those things or not. That's at our discretion. Um, I talk about this too because I've been reminding people, I've been sharing this with people. And I think you still be able to access it even after this day. The TikTok ban is going to happen. There's no getting around that. There's no prancing around it. There's no anything. Um, I'm still likely gonna hold on to mine until they pretty much send it off to app to the app desert. Uh, because if you are a new user or someone who downloads it after the 19th, you won't be able to access it because it's not going to be available on the App Store in the US. Um, share that because many people, at least me being one of them, me at least being one of them, have recorded, saved, and upload quite a few videos. Now, I'll be the first to admit a lot of my videos are just out there. They're some of them I recorded just directly on TikTok and kept it moving. There was a time that I saved a lot of those videos locally on my phone, all fine and dandy. But now I would like to, or I have put them in one separate area, which is what I'm sharing with you all now. If you want to get any of your videos, and this is important, if you want to get them without the watermark, you can download or request a copy of your data. And in requesting your data, I shared, like I said, I shared this on a TikTok video Sunday night. So it's been a couple hours, a couple of days since then. But if you're looking to get your music, well, not even music, because some recordings might not even have any audio behind them, but any videos that had messages, posts that you need to share, posts you need to go back and keep for uploading elsewhere, right now would be your best time to get them. Full transparency, when I first joined with my current account on TikTok, I literally can remember going in and getting access to those like I pretty much was recording videos and just keeping it moving. Not many of them were saved, not many of them could be found or acquired anywhere. And that happens, it is what it is. It's nothing to like make a big to do over, but it is what has happened. So now, since I got this page, or I've been managing this page, because I've had the current TikTok page that I have, I think I opened it like in 2021. I still remember it because I think I started using it more, one, I think after the vax, because people was talking crazy before the vax, during the vax, after the vax. It was a whole monstrosity of things. And I'll be one to come clean and say that I really, to this day, I still don't get into a lot of arguments or discussions about it because trying to talk with people in that regard can be very tricky, especially when you think of it as, hey, this could affect me financially. And I'm not in a state or in a space where I can take this kind of chance. Um, and also the type of work I was doing. Between the type of work I was doing and the place that I worked, it was definitely like in my best interest. And also, I think I've shared this without sharing it. My parents are older or were like my dad was what when the vaccine first hit, he was like 85, 84, 85. So it was kind of like I don't want to do this, but for the sake of the household and also for the sake of people that I'm around on a consistent basis, I had to put I literally had to put ego and pride aside, which I think we all do it, but we do it how we find it beneficial to do it. And I just had to kind of look at the bigger picture more than anything else. One thing I can say, I'm wearing my little under Under Armour esque type mask, and it's just it's a nice little jank to wear to just stay warm. But I also wear it the morning walks and stuff because, especially I know Saturday I'm gonna need it. I think not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. Man, I went out there without it, whole demeanor struggling. Uh, but yeah, I didn't really get into a lot of, I don't want to say back and forth. I didn't get into a lot of dialogue involving that time of health and that time of people because for whatever reason, some people would make it a lot more controversial than it needed to be. And in many instances, I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna navigate through this like I navigate through everything else. Um, but no, I only bring that story up just thinking about how how much life has changed, how much routines have changed. Because I think even I didn't really start considering working on health until wow. When I started the gym, I want to say we were because I was in help desk, and at the time I was in my first location where I started, and then the team moved, and in the midst of moving, I think that was when I was like, all right, I'm ready to get this health journey kicked and going, and I gotta say, like, especially me now, like, granted, I'm not the runner per se, but the body moves. The body is up and at it and doing something active. Um, and I mean, I want to emphasize this too. I know I'm constantly like, oh, 5 a.m. Get up at 5 a.m. Get everything done in the morning. But the reality is, everyone can't do 5 a.m. Everyone's not intended to do 5 a.m. And I'm saying that or I'm sharing that with you all because many people's routines and many people's day to day won't allow a 5 a.m. wake up to help them. I've said this multiple times.
Let's take a quick break.
For over a year, I found an accessory that has become one of my most valuable tools to use for unplugging and disconnecting. My theme for 2025 is the year of unplugging. The resource that I found to connect with this is called Brick. Their website is getbrick.app. If you look in the show notes, you will see a link where I have a promo or an affiliate link for them. I don't want to give the actual promo code only because it is subject to change. But if you click on the link, it will be updated according to what the current affiliate link is. If you want to use that link, save 10%. It will be a very helpful tool. What exactly is Brick? I'm glad you asked. It allows you to take your screen time disconnect to another level for any of my iOS users. As far as I'm aware, the developer is working to get the company who makes the Brick accessory. They are looking to make this available for Android as well. But for my iOS, predominantly my iPhone users, this will help you curve your phone usage to a whole new level. The process is simple. You get the accessory. When you install the application, as soon as you install it, they're going to ask you which apps do you want to remove or not have access to. You select those apps. They give you a gray little box that has Brick written on it. Once you have that, you will then, it's a button right on the app that says Brick Phone. Once you select that, it will automatically walk you through the steps. It'll say tap here to brick the phone, and any of the applications that are not being offered or chosen will be disconnected. The latest update for this product is why I love it more than anything else. They have now set it up so that if you use any browser, it does not matter if it's Safari, Firefox, Arc, any of those browsers, you'll be able to open the browser. But if you try to open any of the apps that you have bricked or not to be used, you won't be able to use them. That has taken my screen time to a whole different level. Before Brick, I was usually on my phone 8-9 hours a day. Lately, I've been able to break my phone for less than, keeping it under almost 4 to 6 hours a day. And the average person uses their phone for quite a while if you really think about it. So check this out. The website is getbrick.app. There is a promo code. If you go in the show notes, you will see it. I also want to be clear, the show notes will show on any of the actual podcast recordings. So if you see episode and you see a number, you'll see the promo codes there. Any of my walkcasts usually will not have this code, but the link will be in any of my actual recorded casts that I'm sitting in front of the mic like I'm doing now. Thank you all for supporting, and we'll get back to the show.
People who get up at 5 are not morning people. We're not. But we also know if we want to get stuff done, got to get up a little bit earlier. Uh, the added caveat, or the big aha moment, if you will, is a lot of times we'll say we're not morning people, but we also learn that you get the most stuff done in the early part of your day. Because what happens is things get, like anything, things get lost in translation, or they get lost in the sauce. And you're not thinking of, oh, if I don't do this, because it becomes a domino effect. And hear me out. Like, folks will call us, folks will text us, folks will check in on us. But one thing we not gonna get, which we gotta kind of accept it being what it is you're you're not gonna have many people in your life, and this is something now that I'm really gravitating towards, is people checking like, did you work on what you're gonna work on this morning? Do you have tasks in place for the day? Like, using work or waking up or eating food as tasks, is those are mundane tasks. And I'm not, you do what you do, but those are things that you got to do. Like, if you get up and don't eat, like, you're starving yourself, literally. Uh, the other part of it, and this is something now that a lot of people, I've been selective who I converse with based on this, is I need folks in my life that wanna sit and pray, or sit and wanna and work through grief and work through life. Like, folks who got a good game and got a good talk, it all sounds, like I said, it sounds good, but are you trying to, like, fulfill your life, or put place better and be better in your life? A lot of people want better, but they want it to just kind of fall in their lap. Like, I've this year is probably the first year in a while that I've really been gun ho with bullet journal. And when I say gun ho, I mean, like, every day, even if I miss a day, I will go in, write down a day, and write what I did for that day, outside of my normal everyday stuff. And I personally can stand behind the fact that doing that has been more helpful than harmful because now I have something to look at and say, okay, Brian, why did we not do what we were intending to do and what's going on? Like, believe it or not, bullet journaling is probably the most resourceful space for expression and creativity in that capacity because I've really been embracing how valuable it is to just record and upload, or how valuable it is to jot down thoughts. Like, I'm not saying that I didn't have as much care or concern about them before, but recently, like each day, something's getting written in my bullet journal. Most importantly, something's getting written in my journal because I've been an avid fan and advocate of journaling, but now like I really want to journal. Like I really want to sit and get thoughts out of my head. Uh, and I'm gonna use this last little bit of time for the walk to share why. And everybody, this ain't everybody's thing. So if brain dumping is not you, I understand. This might not be the show that you need to hear. But brain dumping is very underrated. It's honestly undervalued. And I say that with love and with transparency because many times we look at it like, it's in my head, I got it, I'll keep it. And it's like our memory retention is not as clear and concise as we think it is. I've used this analogy several times, several times, where I talk about the anytime an officer reports to a scene, if it's a massive scene, then it might look a little different. But if it's something that's like non-criminal or non-violent, like something that's minor, but I still need details of what happened, when they ask for name and date of birth, or they ask for information that people don't provide via their credentials, aka license, registration, insurance, then out of nowhere, you see that notebook flip out and they're taking down information. And then they also got to take down information of what happened because, sure, it'll be recorded on the body cam, but they also need to record it if they got to file it when they file an actual police report. So I'm referencing that to your day to day that I'm not going to sit here and reference that you need to file a police report, but you want to log the things that you need to log for your morning and for your day to help you get what you got to get done. And I say this only because I'm a living witness to it. If it don't get written down, it's gone. And I'm also being tech friendly with this. If you trust and confide in your note taking app, whatever choice you use that too. But I'm gonna say this with caution for both sides. Don't have notes in too many places. So if you're taking a lot of quick notes and you got like a little small notebook that you write stuff down in, great. Use that notebook. Don't decide you're about two-thirds of the way to the notebook. Oh man, I need to get another notebook because I keep it. This will help me stay more structured and aligned. And I'm like, what's the difference? If you didn't feel and I get it. Let me be clear. Let me be 100% clear. There are many people who get new notebooks because they want the new notebook, new look and feel. They want something that's going to appeal to their their current writing scenarios. But some instances, you just need to, in the nicest way possible, work what you got. Like I went back to reading this book, Level Up, and and level up. There are different things that they talk to you about doing or best practices and stuff like that. And I looked at the book and I thought to myself, I'm like, I have all these tools and tips that I've found and picked up thanks to reading this book. I need to write them. So I got one notebook, and a notebook done been with me probably since I almost gonna say post COVID. And keep it, I keep it close. I keep it available. I keep it in a space where if I need to use it, I can use it. And it's been working. It has really been like a good little side notebook toolkit to use. It's been like an accompanying partner for the book itself. Um, if it wasn't, if, if what I was writing for what I'm working on wasn't so lengthy, I would use a bullet journal. I call it the mini bullet journal, but it's a smaller version of it. It's a much condensed and smaller version of bullet journal, but it still does the same job. The difference is, which a lot of people don't know, is with those particular notebooks, instead of you writing like a normal page, you kind of flip it in a wider format and write down on the notebook. Now, like I said, I just used one when I started the life driven purpose book, and I used it just like a regular notebook, like a regular pocket notebook that I've always been a fan of. So that's that's where I'm at with those things. But to the main point of brain dumping, like I'm not sitting here saying you have to write everything down. But what I am saying is, if opportunity allows itself to do so, get them ideas out, man. Like ideas, we we do the thing. The thing that we do is instead of actually putting ideas on paper and creating a plan for the idea, we talk to everybody about our plan. We talk to everybody about our ideas. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that at all. However, if you're sharing ideas, I'm not saying this is the case with everybody, but if you're sharing ideas, sometimes your ideas might travel one way. I might have lost listeners on that. Sometimes your ideas might be traveling one way. And I say it that way, or I reference it as such because many times we're wanting folks to be in the know of what's what. And things that you're looking to do or things that you have done aren't going to get as much of that congratulatory and celebratory reaction that you think it deserves. Uh, use this example endless times. When I got my position, like being being a help desk, between becoming full time, between becoming an engineer, and also one other thing that I'm not going to talk about until it happened. Um, I saw a lot of the reactions I gathered from those shares told me a lot. And the irony in that is because of what it told me, it caused me to be more selective, not necessarily who I share things with, but more so it caused me to be more aware that I don't need to put everything on a pedestal. Like I can come out better by making a transition and continuing what I'm doing. And if it comes up in conversation, then it comes up in conversation. But I'm not in a position or in a space where I'm really feeling compelled to like share what goes on anymore. And part of that is bottom line. I just don't want everybody in my business. And something that's really stuck with me or stood out with me overall is there was one time I practically find myself writing status after status, post after post of so many things that lately I'm like, why am I so compelled to share this when it doesn't need to be shared? And it's turned me into not really a rebellious person, but it's turned me more into a if I feel like this is something folks need, feed folks, give folks the information. But updating folks on like where I'm at with stuff and what's going on, nope, not as not as often. And especially with it being a new year, I'm real I'm real movement, sensitive about movement, sensitive about action, sensitive about intention. And if I personally look to excel in my routine and life, whatever, you sometimes, even when you don't want to, you sometimes got to do that. Like I've really forced myself to prioritize what's worth what's worth putting out there to people because people care, but they care just enough, and they care just enough to know what you're doing, but they don't care enough to like, in so many words, in the nicest way possible, be supportive. Because we finish this walk, I'm gonna share this. Support ain't gonna look the same from everybody. It's not. And if you gather yourself well enough to know this and this alone, you'll be good. So I'm almost finished the walk, but I'm gonna close this one out here. Um, like I said, I'm gonna have probably a whole batch of recordings that are gonna go up at one time. But learn to learn to love on learn to love on people and learn to invite love in your life. Because once you can do that, the rest is golden. I appreciate y'all. So thanks for any and every bit of support. Also, if you've been listening to the Walkcast, provide feedback regarding the ad rolls that I've put a mid pre rolls that I've well, mid rolls, I guess you can call them. How you feel about them? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Are they working for you? Would you like them? Like, by all means, tell me so that way we can continue with how this podcast looks to move. Until next time, BT signing out.
Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode. These podcasts are uploaded to Buzzsprout. If you'd like to get into using Buzzsprout, let me know. You can reach out to me at thepastbtpod@gmail.com. Also, the mic, I know I had it there where I was using the Blue Yeti X. I used it for about 3 or 4 months. And since then, the audio has bumped up a little. We're now using the Rode mic. So I'm part of the Rode family. Also using the Vocaster 2 to connect to the Rode mic. So that has become my new combination. These podcasts are available on all platforms: Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Pandora, you name it, it's on that platform. And finally, I want to share this because I did not have an opportunity to share this last season. If you would like to give any feedback or have any thoughts to share on this episode, you will see a link at the top that says send a message. I do check those messages and I will be reading those if they do come up during or after the show. Thanks for tuning in. Catch y'all on the next one.